right, listeners. Well, I have a repeat offender. I shouldn't say that. It's been a minute. When did we do the last one, Reuben? Was it like 3 years ago or something?
It was definitely pre-COVID. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. I have Mr. Reuben Saltzman. I hope I pronounced that right. I've known you a long time, but I've never asked you for the correct pronunciation of your last name. Am I close?
Oh, you got it right. Everybody says it right. Nobody ever spells it right, though.
Oh, yeah. So I would just say
butcher the spelling. I will forgive you.
Yeah, I'll just put S. And I'm the world's worst speller. I even misspell my middle name sometimes because I don't have to write it very often. So it's Pierce, and I'm always like, is it I before E or E before I? That's pretty bad.
That's awesome.
I might need to edit that out. They're like, man, this guy. But anyway, Mr. Reuben Saltzman servicing the Minneapolis area, other areas. I'll let you.
Yeah, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities, metro area. That's about it. Yeah.
Okay, exactly. Cool. Probably a Twins and a Vikings fan, I would guess, right?
Little bit, I'm huge into my daughter's hockey. That's where I spend my time when it comes to sports. I help to coach her team. Not that I know a whole lot about it, but I'm definitely out there on the ice just about every practice and sitting on the bench on the games, yelling at them. So I'm huge into hockey, specifically my daughters. But when it comes to professional sports, I just find I've got 2 kids, and honestly, I don't make time for it. It's
right.
Yeah.
How old are your kids?
Son is 14. My daughter is 10.
Yeah. My daughters are 21 and 18, almost 18. And
oh my
I'm
goodness.
Right there with. Yeah, what's crazy is it's like between work and your kids being young, that's all you got time for, really. I mean, if you'd asked me, like, what are your hobbies? Work, But I tell you what happens is now I love my daughters, but they don't need me as much, and I'm it's kind of like, maybe I should get a hobby or something,
Dude, Preston, I feel like there are so many hobbies that I've said, I'm going to take this up once my youngest is about 18 or so. Right. And it's just like, I don't need to I don't get to spend my time hanging out with them all the time. It's like, I'll start taking up other stuff later on. For now, this is time I can't get back. But
yeah, no, I'm 100%.
It's so funny that you say your daughters are that old. How long have you been doing this podcast for? Because I've always had in my mind, your kids were, about my kids' age now. How long have you been doing this?
I think around 2013, 14, I started it. Well, what happened was I love podcasts, and you got a podcast, so we'll talk about that. I always love podcasts. I mean, I have my favorites, because we have a lot of windshield time, being home inspectors, driving around. And, I was like, I wanted something productive. I can't listen to a song but so many times, and I've had enough. So I'm like, I started listening to a lot of business podcasts, and there's a lot of great ones. And there really wasn't a home inspection podcast at the time. And I wish that there was. So I was like, well, make one. So I made one. And now there's quite a few. And I applaud them all. I mean, somebody would be like, don't you think they're still in your time? I'm like, nah, man, the more the merrier. That gives me more content to listen to. So no, I love it. I mean, I'm not, I because we're lonely out there, and I don't know. Tell us about your podcast.
I just copied you. That's all. No, just kidding. You definitely inspired me to do one. There's no doubt about that. I was listening to your podcast for many years before I did my own, but ours was more supposed to be focused on realtors and home buyers and savvy homeowners. It was just talking all things houses and home inspections and real estate, trying to get more into the technical stuff. And as it turns out, a lot of our listenership is actually home inspectors. At least they're the really vocal ones. And it got at one point, we said, you know what, we might as well just change the focus and make it just for home inspectors. And during one of our episodes, we said, hey, if you're listening, if you are not a home inspector, drop us a line and let us know you listen to the podcast. And we were flooded with emails and notes. And we just went, oh, So there's a ton of people listening who are actually not home inspectors. They just don't say anything. So we thought, all right, we're keeping it the way it is. So I know there's a ton of home inspectors who listen, but it's really supposed to be for everybody who's interested in home inspection type stuff. And sometimes we get really technical. Like we just had Douglas Hansen, author of Code Check and Electrical Inspection of Existing Dwellings. We just had him on, and we talked about home inspections versus code inspections. And then other times we get people, we just had an appliance repair person come on and talk about all the stuff that goes wrong with your appliances and what home inspectors miss and stuff like that. So it's a good variety of shows intended for different audiences. And we call it Structure Talk. That's
is that the name of the podcast?
That's the name of the podcast, Structure Talk.
Is it? Oh, I'm sure it's probably. Can you get it on like the aggregators, like probably like Pod? What is it? Pod. I have an Android, but I know people have iPhone. Isn't there like a Pod thing that like aggregates all the podcasts?
Yeah. Anywhere fine podcasts can be found, you can also find ours.
Oh, cool. Structure Talk.
Structure Talk.
All right. How many episodes you got?
Oh boy, good question. It's we are on our third season, and I call a season a year. We got to be at about 130 episodes now.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, that gives me new content, man. I'm gonna see what happens is like I go out and ride a bike or run or walk more these days because of my back. But I binge listen, and like, man, I'm almost sad like when I get through a whole, because I'm like, but man, 130, about an hour long. I'm thinking I got a lot of stuff to listen to.
Yeah. We started out doing our podcast about 20 minutes a piece pre-COVID, and we'd go into the studio. We had a producer, and we go into his studio, and we would sit there for a marathon. We'd sit there for a couple of hours and bang out like 3 or 4 episodes in one sitting, and we do it once a month. So we'd have one a week. But then COVID happened, and we just started recording 1 episode a week, and we kind of went to more long format, a lot more like yours. And now they're somewhere between about 40 minutes and an hour a piece.
Yeah,
they end up getting a lot longer now that we're recording on Zoom and we don't need to go to somebody's studio. Audio quality suffered a little bit, but you know what? Nobody's complaining. It's good enough.
Same. Well, and I got, some of my favorite podcasts I listen to, some of the business ones like Joe Polish and some of he's literally at conferences talking to people, recording. I mean, you can hear the background music, but you know what? As long as I can hear what they're saying, I mean, if you can't hear what they're saying, now that's a problem, but I don't mind it, but I agree with you. I've gone to Zoom, and it's just so much more convenient. I mean, I'm sitting in my office. It looks like you're sitting in your office, works out. Well, let's talk a little bit, Reuben, about things have changed a lot since our last podcast, and COVID being obviously the biggest change, and the market's gotten crazy. So I'm curious, have you guys changed the way you're doing business, changed the way you're marketing? And oh, by the way, I meant to tell this. Let me back up to what you said before, and then we'll come back to this. I did want to say thank you. I use a lot of your content to train my guys. And I know I'm not the only one, because I've seen a lot of other people say they use your blog and stuff. In fact, every time we have a meeting, you're one of my sources. Like, 2 or 3 days before the meeting, I'm like, all right, what are we going to talk about? And I'll go to your stuff and like find something good. Hey, this is a good training thing. So I recommend that. So at the very least, I owe you a meal next time I see you, because I probably owe you more than that, but that's a small price to pay.
Thanks, man.
But anyway, let's get back to the question. I meant to put a bow on that back there. So what, I mean, I know there's a lot that's changed, and that's an all-encompassing question, but maybe for marketing, the way you do inspections, or the type of inspection. So it's probably been about 5-6 years. So what's changed in the past 5 or 6 years?
All of it. Every one of those things you mentioned, we've gone through some major changes. So let's see. I'll just start with one, and you ask me the next one you want to go to. But as far as the inspection process, I'll start with that.
All right.
When COVID happened, we quit inviting our customers to the home inspection. Everybody's totally freaked out, and we went to just doing it with the inspector there. No clients present at the home inspection. And I have my whole life of being a home inspector, I've always been a big advocate of clients attending the entire home inspection. And then COVID happened. We said nobody can come because we wanted to keep doing them. And our inspectors got really used to that. And all of my inspectors kept telling me, Reuben, I can do such a better home inspection when I am not having to answer questions constantly. I mean, that's the only way we ever did it. But now I've got all my inspectors telling me, Reuben, I don't know if I can ever go back. I am just so much more laser focused. I get it done much more quickly, and I'm not being distracted. And the end result is a more thorough, more accurate, more focused home inspection for the clients. They're getting a better product.
Right.
They're not interrupting me constantly.
I have a question for that, though.
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you, because I'm sure if I was riding down the road, this would be the question I'd be asking the radio. Like, did you get any pushback when you when you tell them that they can't come? And then I didn't mean to interrupt your flow there. Yeah, and how did you handle that? So? During
COVID, yeah, we got the pushback. There was a little bit, and people were like, why can't I come? I said, it's COVID. I don't know. We're all gonna die and all that. And I was just like, you should be glad we're doing home inspections. There's a lot of home inspectors in my area who are freaked out, and they just quit working entirely.
I saw some.
Yeah, and there was a little pushback, but not a lot. Most people just got it. And then once things started opening back up, we started saying, well, you can come, but you can only be there for the last hour. We got to have our home inspector there for the first 3 hours. That's what we schedule, a 4-hour appointment for small houses. Mm-hmm. And we said, we need our inspector there for 3 hours. You can come for the last hour. And just about everybody was perfectly fine with it. It seems like that's what most home inspectors already do. So as I'm saying this, I probably got most home inspectors rolling their eyes going, shut up. I've been doing this for 20 years. But it was a big change for us.
Right.
That's what we're doing now. And pretty much everybody is just fine with it.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we never required them, but we always suggested that to come during the last hour. And we also have a keep the dad busy kit, which is basically a tape measure, graph paper, and a GFCI tester. And it's like, give dad a job.
I love it, Preston. That is so smart.
So, but anyway, we always suggested, coming during the last hour, give us an hour head start, just because, and, we all get that. No, I'm here. I've had them come with their own, coveralls. I'm going to follow you around. What? I'm like, all right. But, here's the thing. If you talk to me, I might get distracted because there's a lot of things that are connected. I see that stain in the roof, then, I'm going to look for stuff in the attic or the chimney. But if you talk to me a lot in between, that may get forgotten or something, So, but we always try to suggest, but you're right, and your guys are right. You can laser focus in on cause and effect or multiple things. A lot of things, there's multiple things, right? Like, there's mold in the crawl space, or, so there's moisture. Where's that moisture coming from? And you're tracking it back, and it may not show up right away, but on another part of your inspection, when you're doing the exterior, and you got all those things going on in your head all the time. And it's tough when, somebody's talking to you about, how the Buckeyes doing or whatever, I really need to, I got 3 or 4 things I'm kind of trying to figure out cause and effect here. But anyway,
yes.
How has it switched, your marketing effort? I mean, I know for the longest time, a lot of us were doing the candy bowls and going to the offices and the speaking things. And I know COVID kind of that made that a little ineffective, I guess.
We kind of went the opposite direction for my company. Our marketing was always my blog, the website, doing YouTube videos, eventually started doing podcasts. and teaching a ton of CE classes to real estate agents. And we never did office visits, quote unquote office visits. We never passed out literature, never did candy bowls or anything like that. It was really, I had a big focus on trying to market directly to the final consumer, the final home buyer. And the only touches we had with real estate agents was teaching continuing education classes. And those were all live in person. As soon as COVID happened, we switched and we got approved to teach the classes live online. And we killed it there. I mean, we would be teaching classes with 250 agents at a time.
Wow.
Which was the license I had paid for. we were using GoToWebinar for this, and I paid for a 250 user license, and the classes would fill up. It was insane.
You're maxing out. Yeah. Yes. Wow. Now, was this, I was going to ask you now, this is Realtor CE, right? What they're required to do.
Yep.
Do they have, I know in North Carolina, it's like 4 hours mandatory and 4 hours elective. Is it similar there? And were you teaching like an elective or a mandatory?
We were teaching elective classes. And
like the home inspection type. Okay.
Yeah. And I think in Minnesota, they got to get like 20 hours or maybe it's 15. I don't remember exactly what it is. I know it's definitely more than 10. Okay. So there's a lot of elective classes that they got to take.
Wow. Let me ask you this. I'm curious, how did you market that? I taught an elective a couple of years ago, and I know our friend Arvel teaches in my market. He teaches a lot, but it's a little tough. I'll be honest. It's a little tough because there are like, some almost celebrity instructors here. So it's kind of, you almost have to bring something extra. And all right. So even if you're not teaching CE, like, because I'm talking to the listeners out there, a lot of us do lunch and learns and that sort of thing. I guess my question is, how do you market it? How do you make it interesting? I mean, because, me, you, and a bunch of home inspectors could get on here and talk about water heaters and it be enthralled and be, anode rod. But the truth of the matter is, realtors don't give a about that, and that's boring to them. So how do you make it attractive? How do you get 250 people in a class to talk about home inspections that are realtors? I
really don't know, Preston. That's a great question. I don't know how we got so many to sign up. Maybe I came up with a catchy title. The first class I came up with, it's a 3-hour class. We call it Home Inspection Horrors, and it's all about the most common stuff that home inspectors find and the real truth behind it. I'm going to tell you.
There you go. You just said it. You did it. You did I catch made it intriguing. Yeah. And home inspection horrors, immediately I'm thinking he's going to have some good pictures or good videos. Yes.
And that's the whole class. It's like there's basically no text on the screen the entire time. I might have 30 words in the whole class. The rest of it is photos, and I'm talking about what we're seeing. And double tap circuit breaker. I know your home whose home inspector makes a big deal about this. Everybody raises your hand. I'm like,
you answered it. You answered it. You made it like user friendly to somebody who's not a home inspector. You know what I mean?
That's the answer. You see, Preston, you're so good at finding the big picture for things.
No.
We were just on a call the other day. It was
he did the Jedi mind trick there. He's like, he made me feel smart, but he's like, he's the real smart one.
Yes.
No, but you made it interesting because I think what happens, and I've made the mistake, a lot of us have, like, I want to do a lunch and learn about radon. And we put on our home inspector hat and we think we're talking to a bunch of other home inspectors, like we go to home inspection CE and we're real technical, but we forget we're talking to realtors, and all they really care about, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I love realtors. I'm not speaking bad about them, but I mean, think about it, is how it affects them. Imagine if, they did a lunch and learn about, how to get, I mean, think about that. If we're not that into, really, all we want to know about real estate is how it affects us. I mean, that's just the truth. I mean, we nobody can really go in depth in another person's profession. It's just, it doesn't have a monetary or an interest value. So somehow you've got to make it funny, entertaining, or how it affects them, I guess.
Yes. What's in it for me? Right.
Yeah. Well, what's that video? And I'll say, I'm going to throw this out there. He's got that video that you got out there, and they used it in the North Carolina mandatory CE. What is it in 2 minutes? It's like what you just said. It's all these funny home what's the name of that video?
Yeah, I think it was 47 home inspection defects in under 3 minutes or something.
Yeah. And every time that video play, I'll be like, I know him. I was like,
I love it.
I was like Buddy the Elf. Santa, I know him. I know that guy. But good stuff. Well, let me ask you this, switching gears a little bit, because I mean, Reuben's a wealth of knowledge and one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and willing to help everybody. For inspectors out there who are listening, we all get that price shopping, and everybody has the, what is it, cheap Charlie or chuck in a truck, and I'll do any house for $199 or whatever,
Yes.
We all know it's not a sustainable long-term model given the liability and all that stuff. But I digress. How do you train your office people to handle price shoppers? What when they call you, the first question is, oh yeah, structure tech, how much you charge for da-da-da-da?
All right, I'll tell you what we charge, cheap Charlie. But first, let me warn you, we are the most expensive company in town.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Now, don't you want to know why? See, normally what home inspectors do is they're like, well, are you calling around and are you calling a lot of people? Well, are you asking them this? And they want to cram all this stuff down people's throat before they even tell them the answer. And it's like they're already apologizing for their price.
Right.
And they want to just beat people over the head with everything about their company. But we go the other direction. We go right to the price. All right, I'll warn you, you're afraid we're going to be expensive. You're right. We are the most expensive company in town. And they're like, what?
I love it, man. I love it. I don't know if I have the gazungas to do it, but I love it.
I'm telling you, well, it's the truth. And you know what? I don't know if it's 100% correct. I'll see other home inspectors like, well, we actually charge more than structure tech. All right, fine. That's fine. You do, but we're up there. I know that at least. And
awesome.
People are instantly curious and they trust us now. It's like, I'm being forthright about this. I'm not trying to hide it. And they go, you're the most expensive. Why do you charge more? And then we got our client care coordinators trained. I mean, we know the speaking points, we know the beats, and we don't get a ton of that though. Honestly, Preston, we get very few people who call and want to know the pricing, because we've got pricing. We've got a big button right at the top right of our homepage that says pricing, and you click on it, you type in the size, the age of the home, kicks back a price. I mean, it is transparent. And it says right on there, we are the most expensive company in town. I've got a video before you click on pricing, you got to scroll past our video, and it's a pricing video. And it starts out with me talking to the camera saying, we are the most expensive in town. And we explain why. They say it's all about technology, time, and our people. And it's a video of us inspecting the heck out of a house and explaining why we charge more than just about anybody else you're going to call, and why it is well worth every penny you spend. And if you're not happy with it by the end of the inspection, if you don't feel like it was worth every penny, you don't have to pay us. That's it. So there's no risk in this. So it works out pretty well.
I love the line too, or I don't know if line, but the metaphor of, if you think about it, like if you had to have eye surgery on your eyes, like, critical thing you need here. Are you going to get the cheapest eye surgeon you can get? Or are you going to get the best? And think about that for a moment. Most people's biggest asset or their net worth is their home. Do you want the cheapest or do you want the best? I mean, but along with that, I'd love to talk about, I know a lot of guys we're in coaching, been in different coaching things, are big into ancillary services. I know that's the term. I prefer to say extra value. You know what I mean? And I always train like all our people. I hate the word upsell because it's just like, I like to say up value, up value. You're giving them more value, because upsells, like, it sounds to me like you're just trying to ring the price up.
Yeah.
But how do you up value? what additional values or ancillary services or what do you do? And remember, the listeners are all different levels, guys just starting out. And I guess I'm asking with kind of like, if somebody was starting out, what you would recommend, good, bad, and ugly, that sort of thing.
Well, in my area, radon is huge. We have always done radon. And today we do radon at approximately 50% of our home inspections.
Wow.
And it's simply a matter of asking, do you want a radon test? I mean, we ask it. If we're on the phone, we ask them. If they're booking an inspection online, it's one of the options. You click this box. Do you want radon? Don't you want radon? I don't know if it's a checkbox or not, but you are asked. And once we confirm the inspection, we send them a confirmation email. If they don't select radon, we say, all right, we got you scheduled to do a home inspection and these extra services. And if you need anything else, please let us know before X days before the home inspection. You can also get a radon. And then we've got a link in the email that points to a blog I wrote explaining what radon is and the importance of testing. And it just asks them about all the other stuff. So radon is huge. Another one that's huge is sewer. We didn't do sewer inspections probably 7 years ago, but started getting into it. And today our sewer numbers are pretty much neck and neck with radon. We do sewer inspections at about 50% of our home inspections. So that has exploded. And we charge the same price for either service. And I tell people, I mean, if you're just going to do one, if you're really going to cheap out, you only want to do one extra service. For the love of love, get the sewer inspection. I mean, you got a sewer problem. This is going to be $5,000-$10,000 to dig up your yard and fix it. You got radon.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. I hope you're getting value out of it. I'm sponsoring, I guess, myself. I'm not really selling anything, but hey man, I thought I'd just tell you about I do a little art on the side, PrestonSandlin.com. Check it out if you got some time. Kind of do some cool looking stuff, I think, but I understand that art is subjective. Also, I'll follow you back if you follow me on TikTok. I'm Inspector Crazy Pants. I'm Inspector Crazy Pants on Instagram. We have two on Instagram, Inspector Crazy Pants and Home Inspection Carolina. We are also, Home Inspection Carolina on Facebook, and you can check out our website, homeinspectioncarolina.com. But you guys follow me, I'll follow you back. Comment, I'll try to comment back. I think it helps everybody's algorithm. So without further ado, I'll let you get back to the podcast. I just want to say I appreciate you listening, and hopefully we'll see each other sometime at a conference. Thanks a lot.
$1,500. I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
That's true. Let me ask you this, Reuben. For the radon and the sewer, do you have a specific person who does that or goes and picks up boxes or does that, or does each inspector do it? And how do you work that?
Oh man. You got 5 minutes for a long answer on this one, Preston?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. We launched a new company this year. We actually launched it last year, but it's a white label company where this company only does inspection services, extra stuff related to a home inspection, but not the actual home inspection. So we do radon, sewer, mold, intrusive stucco testing, like drilling holes in stucco houses to test for moisture. We do those. We do level 2 chimney inspections. We've got CSIA certified chimney sweeps. We do all of this extra stuff, and we only do it for home inspectors. So,
I see. My next question was going to be just curious why a separate company, but that's probably it right there, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think the white label company. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I don't think any home inspectors in my area want to be having structure tech show up at their home inspection, but this is a generic company. We don't even have a logo on our shirts. They have black shirts. We have unmarked vehicles, and when we show up, we are representing the home inspector who called us. And we have a very generic name. It is Inspection Services. That's it. That is our company name.
Wow. So what you can do is like the one-man shop starting out, you can immediately give them they can have all the bells and whistles like subcontract, and they probably get a little bit of a markup too. And the liability, I guess, would go to you. I guess the only, I'd be big on that if I started. The only thing that would worry me, and I mean, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room, it'd be like, how do I know you're not going to backdoor me on my agents? Like you come out there with a white shirt, but how do I know you're not going to email them or something? I mean, I guess that's I guess you just wouldn't get my future business if I found out about that. But how does that work? Or, you probably have to go out of your way to say no. I'm almost, I bet.
Oh, Preston, give me the toughest questions you can possibly think of, because we've deliberated over all this stuff. That's one of the first questions we talked about. And it is in our contract. I mean, before we do our first deal together, whoever we're working with needs to sign our subcontractor agreement. And it says really clearly in there that we will never solicit, never make contact with any of the people that you send our way. If I have home inspectors asking me about this, I say, look, the day that I try calling up any of your agents, that's the day that this business is going down the toilet. There is no possible way for me to make this business work if I'm going to try to poach your clients. That's why I've set up a completely separate company. This is not some DBA of Structure Tech or anything like that. This is a 100% completely independent entity. It has no affiliation to Structure Tech at all, other than we have a lot of the same employees. That's it. But you're not going to see Structure Tech show up on anything. Although I'll tell you, I got to be honest, one of the first ones we ever did for another home inspector, we had not read over some of the fine print in one of our report templates, and the word Structure Tech did show up in there. Preston, I was so embarrassed. Oh my goodness. Oh, talk about egg on my face. I'm like, I had promised him up and down, you will not see Structure Tech. He's like, why does it say Structure Tech?
Oh boy.
But it shouldn't happen for anybody else ever again.
Gotcha. You know what that sounds a lot like, Reuben, is my father was he's passed, but he was a mortician way back in the day, and he had a funeral home. And in the funeral business, hearses and limousines, which are needed in that business, are extremely expensive. And so what would happen a lot of times in like smaller towns or markets would be like they would lend each other the hearse or limousine. They'd have like an agreement, back and forth, if they had multiple, if they got along, which that's a great thing. And I was kind of thinking about that with home inspection. If there was ever like something we ever got into that was some horrendously expensive a piece of equipment that was required, if you did it and then either leased it out or lend it, or somehow there was value going back and forth, whether it was money or I'll lend you mine the next time or something like that. I think that's a good thing. And I know that in IAB and others, they do preach to, we're all going to have competitors. I mean, and it's better to get along with your competitors. So my next question is about that, competitors, and obviously doing that white label service. And I know everybody has some they get along with and some they don't. It all depends on, I always say this to people ask me is like, people have left our company and some have left on good terms and I'd hire them back. And others, not so much.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've had the same, you've been around. What I don't really know my question other than just asking you to speak about like your competitors. Do you have some you get along with? Do you guys, I mean, I know like we don't price fix or anything like that, but I think there is value in trying to raise the quality or whatever. What say you, I guess?
Well, I could touch on a few of those things. I'll say it in the reverse order. The last thing you said about price fixing and quality and all that, we don't do price fixing with this new company, but we do have a minimum fee that home inspectors need to charge their client if they're going to order a service from us. Just like if you're going to go to the store and buy an Apple phone,
it's the same price no matter where you go. Yeah. Yes. You're never going to get one on sale.
That's right.
You just know.
and home inspectors aren't allowed to charge less than this dollar amount if it's coming from us, and we're going to charge the home inspector much less than that. And it means that the home inspector is guaranteed to make money every time one of these services happen. And there's not going to be any type of race to the bottom with anything that we're associated with. We're not going to have home inspectors undercutting each other. So that's the part on pricing. And then as far as, camaraderie here in Minnesota, when it comes to home inspectors, every once in a while, I'll hear people talking about other people and so-and-so did this and da, 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 and all this, I don't know, infighting, not all this, every once in a while. And I just don't get involved in it. People don't talk to me a whole lot about it. And I really stay out of it. My goal has been to improve this profession, to make home inspectors better, to teach home inspector stuff. I teach a ton of CE classes. I was the president of the local ASHI chapter here in the Twin Cities for about 5 years. And I really spend my time just trying to get home inspectors to get along with each other and to learn from each other. And I really try hard to model that by sharing everything I can and being transparent about how we do business and saying, look, I have no secrets. You want to call me up and ask me how to do anything, I will share it with you. I think that a rising tide lifts all boats. It makes us all better. It improves the trust in our profession. And when you go bad mouthing other people, you are destroying your own profession. So keep it positive. Don't criticize, don't condemn, don't complain.
Same. And I try to say, like I'm in different groups and how there's like Facebook groups and vendor groups and stuff like that. And, we all want to market our business. Here's the thing. Most realtors just see home inspectors all the same as a group. So if you start acting really bad or blah, blah, or start spamming, you're going to mess it up for all of us, because they're not going to be like, they don't see you, you bad actor, home inspector. They just see home inspectors as general being a problem. You're out of the group, all of you, or something. So it's kind of like, like, hey man, let's not try to, outdo each other spamming. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I can't help but notice, and I have to touch on this in your background there. I see the book Traction, Gino Wickman, EOS Systems. I'm a big fan. Crazy enough, I read that book, or when I say read, I listen. I'm an Audible guy. I listened to it like 7 or 8 years ago, and I thought, hey, that's really neat, but it was one among many books. And, I didn't go deep dive into it. I was on to the next book. And, but it, recently with Wally and some of the, and my business hit a plateau, where I was just kind of at the same level. I've really took a deep dive into it. And I really love Traction and EOS Systems because, there's no real roadmap once you get to a certain level. It's like, from 0 to 10 guys, everybody just kind of does everything, but at some point you have to start getting some structure tech. See what I did there?
Beautiful.
Or some organization and some scorecards and stuff. So talk to us about Traction. Do you recommend that book, and how do you employ it? And there's probably some people out there who have no idea what we're talking about. So maybe fill in any of those holes that you care to.
Sure. Well, Traction, book by Gino Wickman. It's the Entrepreneur Operating System. Yeah. And there's a handful of operating systems out there for
there's
businesses.
Another one, four something.
4DX.
Yeah, that's
another one.
That's it. Yeah.
I just got done reading a book on another business operating system. I can't remember what it was called, but there's a bunch of them out there about how to run your business, have meetings, set goals, keep yourself accountable, have annual meetings, all that stuff. And I'm not convinced that any one is better than the other. I think what's probably the most important is that you pick one and you follow it. It's like, if you ever read the book Built to Last by Jim Collins, they talk a lot about companies having a vision statement and a mission statement. And something they got down to at the end is that all these mission statements, nothing had anything to do with the next one. And there was no correlation between what was in a mission statement and a company's success. What they did have a correlation of is companies who had a mission statement and adhered to it had success. I mean, it was just the fact that you had something and you did it. And I maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's the same way when it comes to a business operating system. What's much more important is that you have something that you are following and you stick to it. And Traction or EOS, they give you a lot of these tools. They say, hey, this is how you're supposed to have weekly meetings with your team. Here's what the meeting looks like. Here's how you rate it. Here's how you keep yourself accountable. And then you have these quarterly meetings and annual meetings and yada, yada, all these little I'm getting in the weeds with this, but that's just a little glimpse into what the book Traction talks about. And as far as somebody just getting the book, going out and reading it, I did the same as you, Preston. I read the book and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I need to do this. I can't. This is overwhelming. It's way over my head. And I ended up getting a business coach. I ended up looking for a Traction implementer. I was going to find somebody to professionally take me through this in my company. And I ended up finding a very good business coach. And I've been with him for, I don't know, maybe 4 years now, something like that. We've been working together for a long time. And he didn't get us going 100% on Traction in the beginning because I was stubborn. And he's like, all right, well, for the first meeting, we need a 2-hour meeting. And I was like, we're not having no 2-hour meeting. Let's do an hour. Or maybe it was supposed to be an 8-hour meeting. And I tried to condense it down to 2 hours. And, I was just stubborn in the beginning, but I've seen the light, and I follow it much more closely. And we don't do Traction 100%. I'd say we probably do about 75% of what they say in the book, and we're moving towards 100%. I'm just a very slow learner.
Oh, dude, same. And I get up. What is it? Greg Bryan always says, I get up in my own head, like, we're not doing it that way. And I think I know better. And then I have to underperform and realize and see people who did it the way they said to do it and they overperform. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready this time. I have to learn by, I was the kid who had to put his hand on the hot stove to learn. So that, that's the way I have to learn. But and we're not probably even 75%, but we're certainly picked up some things that's helped drastically in the meetings was one of the biggest things. I mean, we had meetings before. I mean, we always had meetings. I knew we needed to have meetings, but our meetings, we didn't really have an agenda. It was just a couple of things we want to talk about in the meeting. And that was it. And we'd wind up going down a rabbit hole and telling stories. And, you remember the time? Oh, yeah. Before long, it's all right, time for the meeting over. And then nothing got accomplished. There was no goals. There was no metrics. There was no, yes. And, it just gives a lot of structure to all right, here's our key metrics. How are we doing on those? If there's a problem and what is it, a rock? Each person has their own thing that they're doing, the problem solutions. I mean, and again, I don't remember 100%, but it definitely has changed the meetings too, where, and that was the other thing going into a meeting in the old days, I'd struggle to be like, all right, we're meeting tomorrow. What are we going to talk about? I had to do some homework. I still do that a little bit, but not nearly as much because, a lot of our meeting is just structure, just, all right, we're going to go over our metrics and, what, we're good. That's good. That's good. This is not good. Why is that number not good? And that sort of thing. So anyway, now that I bored you to death, last question before the lightning round. Seasonality. I know a lot of folks struggle with that. We struggle with it. And I think my friends down in Florida have the opposite season that we have. It seems like, December, January, February are our slow months, but apparently down there, they're really good months. That's their summer. But do you have seasonality in your business? How do you handle that? The flow. I mean, it's crazy when you break down, I'm sure you've done this before. You look at your yearly, whatever your gross is or whatever, but then you break it down probably 15 to 20% of that is May. In our, January accounts for like 5% of that. It's not evenly, we all wish our business was evenly distributed over the year, but the reality is, home buying is not evenly distributed over the year. So seasonality, do you have it? How do you combat it? What do you do?
Yeah, it's wildly seasonal. We did a comparison at IEB where we had, I don't know, it was probably about 50 different companies, and everybody put in what's your best month and what's your worst month to get the swing. And Minnesota, we had the worst one. Now, doesn't mean it's the worst in the country, just worst of the people were represented that day. And ours was somewhere around 45%. So if our best month might have been May, and we did 100 inspections for the entire month, it means that in our worst month, maybe December, we did 45 inspections. I mean, we get some wild swings like that. So
yeah, it's just crazy.
It sucks, man.
I know. And
every year.
I thought, and I've heard other people say, we're also into like we have rental properties. I'm big into like Rich Dad Poor Dad and stuff like that. And I thought about like, man, maybe we could do some flips or something. But I heard other people say that, but I've never known anybody make that work. And how do you, a guy who does inspections, that's gonna be hard for him to go out and be yanking insulation. He's not gonna want to do that. So I don't know if there was some way, or I don't know. I hadn't quite figured it out yet. But all right, lightning round. This is a this or that. Okay. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Rather have a phone call or text?
Phone call.
Cardio or weights?
Weights.
iOS or Android?
Android.
Big party or small gathering?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd say 50-50. Let's go with a big party.
Okay, cool. I think that's for me too. Like I can speak to a large group. I have no problem with that. My wife hates that. But honestly, like the small one-on-ones, a lot of people excel there, but I don't know. I'm like shy in that situation. You'd think that'd be the opposite, right? Like, no problem speaking up in front of a big group, but then I'm ready to get out of there.
Yes. I tried to connect with you at the last conference we were at together, and you were nowhere to be found, Preston. No, just kidding.
I hear you, brother. All right. Would you rather jog or hike?
Jog or hike? I'll go hike.
Flip-flops or tennis shoes?
Tennis shoes.
Now, be careful. Your wife might hear this one. Most important in a partner, intelligent or funny?
Intelligent.
Intelligent. Cool.
Although my wife is very funny too.
Cool.
She really is.
Is she coming to the thing?
Oh, she will be there.
Oh, yes, cool. I have to introduce her to my wife. Is she skiing?
Yeah, she'll be skiing. My kids will be there too. Your daughter's coming?
I'll be skiing. My wife doesn't ski though. I got to find her somebody to like hang out with that. I can't talk her into it. I was like, I can teach you. I'm sure they got a buddy slope. I can teach you. I had been skiing in a long time, so that might be interesting. But I used to like be in the ski club in high school, and I skied. Took it twice as a class, but I probably haven't skied in about 12 years. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Plenty good at it. I've gone skiing twice in my life, Preston.
Oh, really?
Okay.
And I'm doing it. Cool. Well, I won't be too. I'm trying to figure out how to say this without sounding bad. Good. I won't look too there. I have to tell you a funny story about skiing. I know I keep getting off the sidetrack. The very first time I ever went skiing in my life, I think I was in middle school, and I went with my neighbor. His dad took us, and nobody told me about ski bibs, or I didn't know anything about all that. And for whatever reason, I had a brand new pair of jeans on that day. Okay. And this was like before pre-wash. This was like sandpaper tough skins, and every time I fell, this was a small mountain, Mill Bridge, I think. It left a little blue, like it left a little blue streak. By the end of the day, man, my jeans they were almost white, and that mountain looked like a blue snow cone. You could see like everywhere I fell. I guess I made him
Preston fell there
something.
and there and there.
That's hilarious. He fell there. Man, he must have face planted on that one.
Oh, I love it.
Good stuff. Coffee, hot or cold?
Hot.
Rather go to the beach or the mountains?
Beach. I'm going beach. Yeah.
All right. When sleeping, fan on or off?
As long as it's not blowing on me, I don't care. No fan blowing on my body. But the white noise, take it or leave it. I don't care.
My wife has to have the ceiling fan going, but man, it dries your eyes out. That's the only bad thing. Ginger or Marianne? Another one. Be careful. With
Ginger.
Ginger. Nice. Well, most people go Marianne, but I like the pick. Christmas elf or vacation?
Vacation.
Animal House or Caddyshack?
Caddyshack.
Craziest thing you've ever found or one of your guys has found on a home inspection? I asked that question before, but I don't know. I can't remember what you said last time.
Ooh, yeah.
And maybe it's been 5 or 6 years. Maybe something more crazy has come along.
Well, you know what? I don't have anything new now. I just do this. I sit at my desk all day. I'm not in the field anymore. One of the craziest things I saw was an addition built on top of a trailer. It was basically like a trailer like you would pull behind a vehicle. And
right.
They had an addition, and I was staring. I was like, "Why is there a tire embedded in concrete? What is going on here?" And like, wait, is that an axle? Are those springs? What am I looking at? And finally, it dawned on me, like this is a trailer bed for the floor. And
oh my gosh,
shaped it all up, and that was the addition. That was one of the craziest things I've seen.
Was that one of your guys, or was that one that you saw?
That was me. I saw that personally.
You know what kills me, Reuben? See, I started inspecting in the mid-90s, and I saw so much crazy stuff, but that was like before video, before we had, I didn't record it. Nobody recorded. I mean, I might have a Polaroid of some stuff, or man, if I would have had, I mean, literally, I remember we started with the flip. You remember the flip video, the little flip thing? It was like
I remember
the little USB thing popped out, and it was like 1.3 megapixels or something.
Yep.
And then we had those Sony Mavicas. But I guess what I'm saying is, I saw, because I'm like you, I'm here most of the time. I might go out and look at something, but yeah, I'm trying to incentivize my guys to send me crazy stuff because I'm not out in the field. But I was, and it works for a while. And then I'm like, man, y'all didn't send me any videos in a while. I'm trying to incentivize it. I do gift cards, all kinds of stuff. But
Preston, me too. We're in the same boat.
It's weird. They send them for a while, and then like they don't. And used to, we would pay them like, I don't know, $15-20. But the thing I found out, Reuben, was like, $15-20 added to your pay that you don't see until 2 weeks, and it just not. So then we went to like gift cards, like immediate, and that was a little more thing, but it slowed down a while. I need to go out and like get on our Discord and be like, hey man, come on. But I don't know, like, especially when it's slow, man. I'm $20 gift cards, a $20 gift card. Send me a video.
I know. I feel the same way. I'm like begging and pleading my inspectors, send me photos. I want this stuff. You see something crazy, send it to me.
I know. And I'm like looking at their like schedule, and I'm like, any of these houses vacant, like that I could go out to, because I don't want to go where people are and have to talk to people. But I'm like, two things I'm looking for. Is it vacant? Is it like an old house? But we don't have all those foreclosures and stuff like we used to have. You can almost guarantee you get a foreclosure that's vacant, it's gonna be a train wreck. And it's
there was so much Facebook fodder on those.
I know.
To share.
Man, I hear these guys on these groups, these inspection groups. Oh my God, look at this, what I got to inspect today. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, think of all the great videos you can get on that thing. Like, golly, man, I get a month's worth of videos on this one house, But anyway, so last question I've asked before, but I'll ask again. It's always my closing question. If you, went to sleep tonight, woke up brand new world. You had all your equipment, all your training, room and board taken care of. But for whatever reason, you're in a brand new market, the same size that you're in. You got $5,000. How are you going to market or get your name out there? And I know you're all about your blog and stuff. And I know that is powerful. And I highly recommend that. The only downside with that, though, that might take a little while to get that up.
Oh,
that's a long game. That's a long game.
That is a long game. Yeah, years, man.
Yeah. I think you might be doing that in the background, but what would you do immediately to try to get some business? It's kind of an ROI question, for guys like what are they going to get the most bang for their buck if they got a limited budget?
Yeah. And I love this question you asked because everybody's got different answers and I have no idea what the best one is. And mine probably isn't the best, but it's more just falling back on what I know and what I enjoy and what I'm good at. And I started offering free continuing education classes to real estate agents. I love teaching those. I get really good response from them. I can sell the heck out of them and people like coming to them, and I teach them at people's offices. So that'd be mine. I'd develop curriculum and I'd start calling up office administrators, telling them, hey, I got free CE for your agents. Set me up with a date. They will love it. I guarantee it.
Awesome. I do have a little follow-up question on that. Now, do you have to pay something per student to the state for that? And do you eat that cost or just charge them like what the state, like in North Carolina, it's like the state requires you, like, I think it's like $11 per student or something. So, what typically most, it's a 4-hour class, most instructors out there, they charge, I don't know, $65 or whatever. So they're making the 40 or 50, but they got to turn 11 into the state. So like I was thinking, like if I went out there and did free, would I just say the $11 minimum, I'm not making anything, or would I just eat that? And, so that's my question to you. Do you charge them the minimum or whatever, or do you eat that?
We don't have any fees. I mean, I got to pay a very small fee to be an education provider. I've got to jump through a gazillion hoops that I'm barely qualified to jump through to be an education provider. It is a lot of work. You got to have your,
you got to send in like a video of yourself and they got to critique it and all that.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff we got to go through. So it's a pain in the butt, but once it's done, I mean, once you teach a class, you just got to enter the information into this portal and show that the agent attended the class, but there's no fees involved.
Really?
So
wow.
I'm really thankful for that now. I didn't appreciate what I had until you just shared what you have.
Yeah. I think it's like $11 per student or something. So I didn't know, like, do you eat that or do you, and yeah, because the thing is, like, I sponsor a lot of CE classes and not as good as teaching it, but probably the next best thing is sponsor it. And like if you buy lunch or something, you're always, all right, what's my cost per head? How many people they got in here? How much that lunch costs me? I'm looking at, I'm trying to get it for $6-7 a head or something, but then if I had to provide lunch and pay that $11, and then sometimes you meet somebody, you're like, hi, I'm Preston, are you, what firm you with? Oh, we retired about 10 years ago. We just keep our license up. Like, give me my pen back. I'm just kidding. Give me that lunch back. Give it to somebody else.
Right.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I'm like, I just spent how much on your head?
Yes.
No, and I mean, there's like a lot of those. I mean, you got to figure out that, like, out of any given class of 20 people, there's probably 5 in there that aren't even active anymore. I mean, they're just keeping up their life. I mean, they're not sending you any business. Nice people, but you got to figure that out. So really, instead of it costing me $8 a head, it's really costing me $12 a head for people who can send me business. But anyway,
and I had some people tell me, well, I'll tell you what, the really busy agents, they're not coming to these classes in person. They're just doing all the asynchronous classes, or the ones that you can take on demand online. That's what the big hitters are doing. I had people telling me,
and their assistant is taking it for. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Do you know that's why they require to show IDs though? Here, like in person, one of the registrars told me that they've had people try to send their assistant
I believe it.
Crazy, man. Why would you risk though? That would be a big thing. But anyway, man, we're here at the hour, and I know you're busy. I promised to only keep you an hour. So, Reuben, one last time, how do people find you, follow you, give you some likes, and steal your stuff for training purposes? Where do they go?
Yeah, you can find it all at structuretech.com. You can find the blog. I've got a YouTube channel. We've got the podcast, and I don't know what else. It's all found at our website, structuretech.com.
Cool. And is that the same on Facebook? Is it Structure Tech as well? Go like them on Facebook.
If you search Facebook, you type in Structure Tech, you will find us. I've got a link on the website too, but I think.
Oh, you're on Instagram too. You show great pictures, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's basically identical to our Facebook. It's pretty much the same thing. But
well, and one thing I hope this is okay, and this is my advice to any inspector out there. Like, I've borrowed Reuben's pictures, but I will give him credit. If
you're the best.
And I will always say stolen from, and I'll put the name on there. And actually, that's a win-win, because you're going to get credit in your agent, like on Facebook or something like that. But not only that, it's kind of an ego thing, because people do it to me and I'm the first one to go like it,
Yeah.
So it's a win-win.
Thank you.
I mean, if you ever borrow something from another inspector, give them credit. Say, borrowed from, I always make a joke, stolen from, put their name, tag them, ask them first. I'm pretty sure I asked Reuben at some point.
I'm sure you did.
You probably don't have to ask them every single time, but ask them
yes.
the first time. But as long as you give them credit, but don't just take somebody's stuff and then post it like it's your own. That's a little. But I think if
done so many times, Preston.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, dude, you stole my picture. I mean, all you had to do was say borrowed from, and I would have been like, oh, thank you. It would have just changed the whole dynamic of that. But now when I see I'm kind of like, stole my stuff, man.
Well, Preston, I got a funny story for you. I've got a blog post coming up talking about frost covered plumbing vents, something that you surely don't experience in North Carolina, but there's this product that's supposed to help prevent it from happening. And I saw it in a store one day, many years ago. I took a picture of it and I went to promote it on this blog post. I haven't published it yet. And I just checked out a video that they've got on their website. And I went through the video like, oh, that's what they do. They do this. And then sure enough, in the video, there's a couple of my photos from a previous blog post. I'm like, I'm here promoting them and they're ripping my stuff off. They didn't even
give you any credit or send you some free samples or something, man.
Yeah, just say, hey, you mind if I use these? I'd be like, yeah, of course, go ahead. I don't even need credit. You're welcome to. But I just thought, I'm in Minnesota. You're in Minnesota. Just ask me, dude.
I was, I make these crazy pancakes for my daughter, character pancake. Well, we used to. And this pancake company that we used, they used them, but they give them credit. They sent me a whole bunch of free pancake mix. So
love it.
So I was all good. Well, Reuben, thank you for your time, brother. I will see you next week, I think. So, and if anybody wants to email you or follow up with anything, what's a good email for you, if that's okay?
Yeah, Reuben, REUBEN at structuretech.com.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.